Hi guys, I am Ankit. Welcome to our YouTube channel EdPunk. In the previous videos of this series, we discussed question 1 to 37 of the CBSE Computer Science Class 12 Term 1 sample question paper in detail. Now before we begin with the discussion, make sure you have downloaded the EdPunk app from the Google Play Store or link provided in the description below to make the most out of these discussions. As for each question, I will also tell you the corresponding video in the app where you can learn more about the concept in detail. All materials like notes, videos, practice tests, and NCERT solutions are completely free on the EdPunk app. So don't miss out this opportunity and make the most out of the high quality content available in the app. Now, without wasting any further time, let us start with the question number 38. What will be the output of the following code? So we are importing the random module. Then we are assigning a list of cities given in string. Now we are iterating on the index of the list and we are calling the randint function available in the random module. Now corresponding to the random number obtained, we are printing the corresponding value in the list at that particular index. So you can see that this question tests the concept of random module, and the randint function used in this code returns an integer between 1 and 3, including both these numbers. In the option A, Delhi cannot be the output as index 0 is never returned by the randint function, so it is incorrect. Similarly, option C is incorrect because Delhi is obtained in the output and 0 is not obtained by the randint function. Now notice that in option D, there is a space between hash and the next letter. Also, there is no hash symbol in the end, whereas the print function specifies that each city output ends with a hash symbol. So the correct option is answer B, which generates the values Mumbai, Chennai and Kolkata, which are basically index 1, 2 or 3, and there is also a hash symbol between each of these generated cities and the end of the line. Now moving on to the next question, what is the output of the following code snippet? So in this code snippet, a function is defined which is changeVal and it accepts parameters m and n. In the body of the changeVal function, we iterate over range of n, and for each index, we modify the value of m at that particular index based on some of the conditions, like if it is divisible by 5 or if m of I is divisible by 3. Now let us take the value of L, that is a list 25, 8, 75 and 12. Now we'll call changeVal L, 4. Now notice that we are passing a list to the changeVal function. So what happens in such cases is that we are passing a mutable object to a function. So any modification made to the corresponding parameter, like if we make any modification to m inside the function, it automatically gets reflected in the original list, that is L. Inside this function, we iterate over n, which is the length of this list. So the first item in this list, that is 25, is divisible by 5. So m of 0 is reassigned as 25 integer divided by 5, that is 5. Now 5 is not divisible by 3, so we move on to the next item, that is 8. 8 is not divisible by 5 and it is also not divisible by 3, so it remains the same and we move on to the next index, that is 75. Now 75 is divisible by 5. So m of 2 is reassigned as 15, that is 75 integer divided by 5. Now 15 is again divisible by 3. So m2 is again reassigned as 5, as 15 integer divided by 3 is 5. Now we will move on to the final index, and the final item corresponding to that index is 12. 12 is not divisible by 5, but it is divisible by 3. So, m of 3 is assigned as 12 integer divided by 3, that is 4. Now the loop ends. As lists are mutable, like we discussed, any changes made to m is again reflected back to L. So when we execute for I in L and print each and every item in the list L, the output obtained is the modified value of m, that is 5 hash, 8 hash, 5 hash, 4 hash. So the correct answer is option B. Moving on to the next question, question number 40. Suppose content of myfile.txt is Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall, Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again. What will be the output of the following code? Myfile is equal to open myfile.txt, record is equal to myfile.read.split, print len of record and myfile.close. So this question tests your concept of opening a file, reading a file, and also it tests how you can apply string methods to the content read from the file. After opening the file, the read method reads the entire content as a string. When the split method is called on this string without any arguments, it splits the string on whitespace characters. In this case, space and newline characters are the whitespace characters. Hence, we obtain a list of words as a record, and the length of this list is the total number of words in that file, that is 26. So the correct answer is C, 26. Moving on to the next question, question number 41. We have to find the output of the given code. So in this code, there is a variable name which has been assigned a string Python 3.1. Now we iterate over this string, and based on certain string methods and string character checking methods, we find out the final value of R, which is printed at the end of the code. So let us start with the dry run of this code. The first character is uppercase P, which satisfies the condition name of x dot is upper. Hence, the computed value of R is R plus name of x dot lower, which converts P into lowercase p. So the value of R is lowercase p. Now moving on to the next character, which is lowercase y, it satisfies the condition name of x dot is lower. Hence, the updated value of R is lowercase p and uppercase y. Going to the next character, that is lowercase t, again it satisfied is lower, and so the updated value of R is lowercase p, capital Y, capital T. Now we move on to the next character, which is lowercase h, and the value of R is updated accordingly. For lowercase o, in a similar fashion, isLower method is satisfied and the value of R is updated. So now we have the value of R as lowercase p, capital Y, capital T, capital H, capital O. Now moving on to the next character, which is uppercase N. Now it satisfied is upper method. So the updated value of R is lowercase y, capital P, Y, T, H, O, and lowercase n. Now the next character is the character 3, which satisfies the condition is digit. And whenever this condition is satisfied, the value of R has the value of the character which is just preceding this digit, that is uppercase N. So now we have the updated value of R as lowercase p, capital Y, T, H, O, and lowercase n, and then again uppercase N. Now the next character is the period symbol. This satisfies none of the conditions, so the hash symbol is added to the value of R. Now the next character is 1, which satisfies the condition is digit, so the value of R is now updated to lowercase p, capital Y, T, H, O, lowercase n, then again capital N, then hash symbol and the period symbol. So if you look at the options, sadly, our answer does not match any of the options given in the paper. So I will request you all to do not panic if any such situation arises during the exam. You can go ahead and attempt other questions and just have faith in yourself and hold your nerve. These things can happen and there might be some error in the question. Now let us move on to the next question, that is question number 42. Suppose the content of myfile.txt is honesty is the best policy. What will be the output of the following code? So this question is a very straightforward file opening and file reading question. So the output is actually the number of characters in the file. In this case, the number of characters in the file is 27. So the correct answer is option D, that is 27. Now moving on to the next question, question number 43. Suppose content of myfile.txt is culture is the widening of the mind and of the spirit. What will be the output of the following code? In the code, we are actually doing a simple file opening, file reading, but we are also using a string method, that is .count, which is useful to count the number of occurrences of substring in a particular string. In this case, the string x is the entire content of the file in the form of a string, and the substring is string the, which we are trying to locate inside the file and count the number of occurrences of the string the in the contents of the file. In this case, the number of times the string the occurs in the string x is 3. So the correct answer is B, that is 3. Moving on to the next question, question number 44. What will be the output of the following code? So there is a code where we have a global variable x which is assigned the value 3. So inside the function myfunc, we are accessing this global variable and modifying its value. Now when the first print function is encountered, we print the value of x followed by a space. In this case, the value of x is right now 3. So we print 3 followed by a space. Now the function myfunc is called. So inside the function, the value of x is updated to 5 and it is printed followed by a space. So now we obtain the output, that is 3 space 5 space. Now since inside this function, the variable x is the global variable, its value is updated globally. And now when the final print function is executed, the value 5, which is the updated value of x, is output followed by a space. So the correct output that we obtain is option D, that is 3 space 5 space 5. Moving on to the next question, question number 45. Suppose content of myfile.txt is Ek Bharat Shresth Bharat followed by a new line character. What will be the output of the following code? So inside the code, vlist is the list of lowercase and uppercase vowels A, E, I, O, U. After reading the content of the file and assigning it to x, we traverse x one character at a time and update the count of VC by 1 in case any uppercase or lowercase vowel is encountered. There are 7 vowels in the string, so the result returned is option B, that is 7. In the next question, that is question number 46, we are given a file myfile.txt which contains 5 lines of text and an empty line at the end. Myfile.readlines returns a list of lines. Now we are told to produce the output of the given code. In the third line of the code, myfile.readlines returns a list of strings containing each line. The for statement then iterates on the items of this list one by one. That is, it is iterating over each line and tests whether line 0 or the first character of the line is equal to capital T, that is uppercase T. In case it is uppercase T, then the value of line count is incremented by 1. As two lines, the first and the last line, begin with an uppercase T, the output is 2, which is option A. Now in the next question, question number 47, we are given a directory structure and the root directory school is present working directory. Now we are asked what will be the absolute path of the file syllabus.jpg. As you can see in the diagram, syllabus.jpg is inside the academics folder, which is inside the root folder, that is school folder. Hence, the correct answer is option B, that is school academics syllabus.jpg. Moving on to the next question, question number 48. Assume the content of the text file student.txt is Arjun Kumar, Ismail Khan, Joseph B, and Hanika Kiran. What will be the data type of data_rec? In the program, we are opening the file, we are using the readlines method, and then we are closing the file. This is a very straightforward question, as the return type of readlines method is a list, as it returns the lines in the form of a list. So the answer is option B, that is list. Moving on to the final question of this section, that is question number 49. What will be the output of the following code? TUP1 is equal to a tuple containing items 1, 2, a list 1, 2, and finally the item 3. Now, TUP1 to 1 is equal to 3.14. Print TUP1. In this case, we are trying to modify a tuple. Although TUP1 is a tuple which is immutable, but when you say TUP12, it points to the list 1, 2. This list is mutable. So TUP21 replaces the item 2, which is at index 1, with the value 3.14, and the final result is option B, that is tuple 1, 2, list 1, 3.14, and finally the value 3. With this, we have come to an end of the fourth video in this series. In case you have any doubts or you need any further clarifications, feel free to comment below. Also, if you want to watch any video on any particular topic, do comment below so that we can make videos on that topic. We have a lot of activities planned out on Edpunk channel before the term 1 exam begins. So make sure you subscribe this channel and hit the bell icon. And also follow us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram so that you don't miss on any updates. See you in the next video.